What's up, everybody? I'm Alan Seslowski, and thanks for tuning back into Roster Watch. We're in the middle of the summer, and fantasy football players start to curate all of their information, do their research in order to make adjustments to their draft boards. This is the point of the summer where normally we would hear training camp reports from beat writers. On social media, those reports would circulate, and ADPs have a tendency to fluctuate and react, and a lot of times overreact. Today, on this video, what we're going to do is talk about a few players whose ADPs are flying up draft boards. The first player I want to talk to you about is Terry McLaurin on the Washington football team. His ADP, going back to the early part of the spring, was in the 6th round at times. Terry McLaurin's ADP is starting to rise and now is solidly on the 4-5 turn. Now, he's always been a favorite of Roster Watches, and on Washington, he is certainly projected to lead the team in targets. Now, with the recent injury of Kelvin Harmon, Terry McLaurin is squarely on the radar of many fantasy football drafters. Running back inflation in many drafts has caused the wide receiver value to get pushed down the board, but Terry McLaurin has always been one of the most undervalued players in all of fantasy the whole offseason. Now, we're still going to be able to get him using the Roster Watch Fantasy Football Ultimate Draft cheat sheet with some adjustments that we recently made, and he's still going to be a great value in the early part of the 4th round. Terry McLaurin's a sneaky bet to be amongst the league leaders in targets in 2020. The next player we're going to talk about is Robert Woods on the Los Angeles Rams. Woods' ADP is around 40, and he's going as the wide receiver 18 off the board. Woods is that name that has not been analyzed too much this offseason, but people are warming up to. When best ball drafters have some stake in the game, they certainly want Woods. He's now getting drafted amongst the likes of Calvin Ridley, A.J. Brown, and even DK Metcalf. Roster Watch co-founder Alex Dunlap cautions that Woods has a tough projected matchup schedule. The rise of Woods' ADP could be pointed to the fact that he finished as a top 12 wide receiver over the second half of last year. Roster Watch senior analyst The Trash Man even thinks Woods could see an uptick in targets due to those targets that are vacated by Brandon Cooks being traded. For those of you using the Roster Watch Ultimate Draft cheat sheet, we will likely direct you to other wide receiver options when Robert Woods is available to draft. Before we continue, I just want to give you a quick word about what's going on over at Roster Watch. The 2020 Roster Watch Ultimate Draft cheat sheet is available now at rosterwatch.com. The revolutionary cheat sheet that changed fantasy football forever is back, only at rosterwatch.com. The Roster Watch Ultimate Draft cheat sheet, all you need to do is follow 3 simple rules. That's it. It couldn't be any easier, and an expert quality fantasy football draft is guaranteed. The Roster Watch Ultimate Draft cheat sheet is available now at rosterwatch.com. The last player I'm going to talk to you about is Kenyon Drake. Kenyon Drake is a player that Roster Watch has been talking about all offseason long. Going back to early drafts in the spring, his ADP was around 24 overall. Now, Kenyon Drake's ADP has been on a meteoric rise ever since the circumstances around him improved and the circumstances around some other options have gone the other way. After Kenyon Drake signed his contract, his ADP moved from the end of the 2nd round about to the middle of the 2nd round. And now we've seen it creep up to the point where he's solidly a 1st-round pick. Roster Watch still likes Kenyon Drake at his 12th overall ADP, RB9, for fantasy drafts. He has tremendous upside and could easily finish as a top 5 overall player in fantasy. The Roster Watch Draft cheat sheet will still be directing you to get some Kenyon Drake when you pick at the end of the 1st round. Okay, Roster Watch Nation, that's it for today. Remember to like and subscribe to get notifications when we go live, and leave us a comment in the video. We will comment back. Until next time, goodbye.